take command. Welcome to the bunker.
Welcome, everybody, back to another episode of The Bunker. I'm your host, Andy Burrows, and as you can see, I am joined by my illustrious co-hosts, as always. Down the bottom there, with some of the worst internet problems in the history known to man, and he's using his own Zoom this week, Mr. Jesse Martin. Jesse, how are you, brother?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Fantastic. Maybe, kind of.
Yeah, having internet issues, I believe.
Having some issues, yeah.
Yeah, for those watching on the YouTube, he's on his phone. So don't say he's not committed to the cause. Up there with no internet problems and all is well up in the world of Liverpool. My fellow Brit, Mr. Lockhart. Scouse, how are you, brother?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. Yeah. How are you, man?
Yeah, I'm all right, bro. I'm not going to lie. I'm missing football already. I put on the Pro Bowl for like 5 minutes yesterday. I thought, let me look at this.
Gaffing.
I turned on and there was a tug of war game going on, and I was like, "What the fuck has happened to the Pro Bowl?" That's why when I argue with people on X, Twitter, saying, "Yeah, the players might have some sort of financial incentives to be on the Pro Bowl, but fucking hell, it's a complete waste of time." Well, when players start crying and all, I'm going to the Pro Bowl. No, you're going to go and play tug of war. That's what you're going to do. Or you're going to do something else. It's just a complete fucking waste of time. Anyway, boys, let's talk some Washington Commanders while Jesse kind of now sits in the dark. Scouse, Josh Harris done his press conference today. And it seemed that everyone seemed to want to talk about, is the name coming back, and the stadium talk. So let's get into it. First of all, let's get this out of the way. Josh Harris confirmed today that the Washington Commanders name is staying. We're going to don our cap to our past with, I'm guessing, relevant things coming up throughout the offseason and next season coming up. But the Washington Redskins name is never, ever, ever, ever coming back. And we are going to be the Washington Commanders. What did you make when you heard that? Scouse finally puts a bed to everything that people keep tweeting, keep Facebooking, keep DMing us, keep tweeting us. I had an argument with someone last week that I posted our podcast in a Redskins chat forum. I mean, how dare I? I mean, good to hear from Josh today. Fair play to him. He come out off the bat. He was asked the questions by like John Keim and a few others asked the question. Redskins name's not coming back. Washington Commanders, and we're here to stay. What did you make of it, bro?
Yeah, I mean, it was to be expected, to be fair, especially after an actual winning season as well. Because beforehand, you could say, well, all the Commanders was one season of losing. Now you can say, well, actually, no, we've done well, championship game, et cetera, et cetera. There's some winning there now to the name. So I can see why it's going to keep it. And to be fair, we knew deep down we weren't going to get the Redskins back. I mean, of course, I'm one of them guys who would want it back if there was a chance, but I knew there wasn't. So I've had to get my head around that over the past, year or so it's been hard work, to be honest with you, but I knew that I wasn't coming back. I'm just hoping that we can get like maybe the logo back. And that's why you mentioned about going back to the past. You mentioned, Josh Harris mentioned about going.
He was very clever not to say Redskins, was he? Ever?
Yeah, he didn't say it, did he?
No, once, did he?
I'm just hoping that maybe you can get a logo back or something like that.
He said it in the beginning.
Did he?
Multiple times.
When he said he was a fan of the Redskins.
Yeah, today, he said he was
fan of the Redskins.
Yeah, but then when he
didn't say Redskins today, but his first press conference.
Oh yeah,
I
get that.
Team,
of course, I get it. But today he was very clever. He was like, the team that I grew up with, or the team that I supported when I was a kid, or I'm from this area where this team. He was very careful not to say Redskins. Jesse, while we're on that topic, what did you make of it? Because
yeah,
you have to draw a line under it sooner or later, and I'm glad it come today.
Well, it wasn't about either the Redskins or the Commanders. The Redskins was never in the discussion. They came out when they bought the team and said the Redskins aren't coming back. I don't know why people didn't believe him, but he was pretty adamant back then. I mean, this was well over a year ago.
This time last year,
it was in been saying it for since he bought the team, it was always going to go this way unless this team bottomed out over and over again, like it has been doing for in the next like few years. He left a tiny crack open, a very, very small crack open on a name change. But now the team is winning. Yeah, I've been saying it from day one. The only way the name changes, and we've heard from Jason and other people in the organization, they didn't never wanted to change the name. It was just too much to go into it. So all those people who want the name change from Commanders, I mean, it was never going back to the Redskins. It's cemented now. Yes, they're staying with Commanders. Let's get the hell over it. The name debate is so freaking exhausting. I mean, time and time again. And the people that saying bring back the Redskins, I don't understand why they thought there was a chance to bring back the Redskins. There was never a chance to bring back the Redskins. The NFL would never, ever, ever, and they made that clear from day one, it was never going to come back. Now, the good thing is about this whole situation is expect to rebrand back. And what I take from that and what some others have said that's been close to the team, that's talked to the team, we're going to go back to our regular uniforms. It may not have the original logo to it, but it's going to be something pretty close to it and get our, regular burgundy and gold and look like the old Redskins that we all knew and loved.
Do you think that'll be the nod to the past that you mentioned in the press
conference?
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, that's the nod to the past right there, is bringing back the original uniforms.
I don't think,
or maybe not like the original. The ones I know some people are fans of, like the RG3 with the dark maroon and the gold like bronze pants. That's not coming back. I hope not, because those were god awful. But the regular, back in the Super Bowl days, the burgundy pants, the white jerseys with the stripes on the side, the classic Redskins Washington uniforms.
Yeah, Scouse, did today put an end to the argument that, we spoke about it on last week's episode, last Tuesday when we recorded, all three of us were together, and we mentioned that Kevin Sheehan put out about the old logo, and we got into it. Did today kibosh that as well? I don't think you're going to get the logo on a jersey either.
I don't know. I don't know about this one. I mean, I know you could be totally adamant and it's totally all in the past, but I'm still going to hold up hope because I do think, like Jesse said, there's going to be a rebrand of styling of something. Okay, so as in the jerseys and the emblem could be part of that, but
that's associated with the Redskins, though. Know. Can you do that and still not get? And like Jesse says, I'm after what I heard today, I'm 100%. Last week when I heard Sheehan and everyone
to the past,
but you can't put it. Can you put that on a jersey though? Can you put the logo on a jersey in one breath and in another breath say the Redskins are never coming back? Because if for argument's sake, you put that logo on a jersey for a throwback game or whatever it is, as soon as you put that logo on a jersey, everyone's going to go, well, you're the Redskins. You can call yourself the Commanders, but as soon as that logo hits the jersey and we wear it on a field on a Sunday afternoon, you are the Washington
Redskins.
Many
were still the Redskins, and that's okay. That's like that
nothing
nod
wrong
to
with
the
that,
past, I just don't think that the head is coming back. Now, if we have it back for a throwback uniform, absolutely. One game a year, perfect. Love that. I just don't. It's not going to come back full time.
I don't even think you can have it back for one game a year because, like I said, the second you put that logo on a jersey, you're the Redskins. In my opinion,
I'm gonna have to agree to disagree on that. I think it's just the name that's.
But that logo,
bad,
the name, that's the problem.
I've got this tick on my jersey, I'm wearing my black Terry McLaurin jersey today. There's a Nike tick there. You see that logo, you associate it with Nike, or as you strange Americans say, Nike. It's you put a Washington Redskins logo here where the Commanders one is. You're not the Commanders, you're the Redskins. So for me, you can't have one without the other. You can't have that logo on a jersey and not be the Washington Redskins. You can polish a turn and all them scenarios, but how do you put a logo on a jersey and not be the Redskins?
Exactly. Easy. Don't have Redskins right here where they used to have it. I mean,
but as soon as you see that logo, you see Nike, you see Reebok, man. You see everything.
I mean, Tony Romo's saying Redskins right now. You know what I mean? By accident, but still happening.
Yeah, I know.
So it doesn't matter
A,
about
a
me.
logo is a logo. The logo doesn't say Redskins in it. Redskins is the key thing here. Okay. If the word is printed on there, that'd be one thing.
Yeah,
It's
but that
not printed
logo's
on
synonymous
that
with the
logo.
Washington Redskins. Just
But
in my
it's
opinion.
synonymous with our history too, though.
Yeah.
Andy.
Oh,
And
look.
if you think
Look.
about it like that,
I get it.
yeah,
And like I said last week, if you done it, I would buy a ton of merchandise. I just don't
it,
think you can have one without the other.
and it's all throughout the building in Ashburn.
Mm,
I mean, go look at it. It's there. It
mm.
is there. So why, they're not the Redskins when they're in their training facilities. They're not the Redskins when they have the logo at the stadium. What difference does it make if they have it for one game on a throwback uniform, because that's what they were, without having the actual word Redskins on it? I don't think it makes two shits difference. It's not going to. It doesn't say Redskins. They're still the Washington Commanders. Not going to change their name for one game.
Yeah, I
The
suppose
old
you could
logo
just
is the
have the
old logo.
logo. You
But
could have the logo with
I,
no branding on it,
I'll
like no
get.
commanders, no nothing.
Yeah, I'll give you an example. Okay, Houston, when they, or was it Houston or Tennessee? They had the old Oilers logo on there. They're still the Titans, or still the Texans, which that one confuses me because it was one team, but they were the Oilers for 1 year. I mean, for one game this year. I mean they had the
Yeah, yeah,
logo, but that doesn't mean they were the Oilers. You know what I'm saying? Get what I'm saying?
yeah. No, I
I,
get
I
it,
think
bro.
it's all right if they
And
decide to go that direction. I don't think they're going to go that direction, but if they decide to go that direction and have it as a throwback, I don't think it's going to make two difference at all. It's one game, a throwback. I mean, people are going to call them the Redskins until that generation that grew up with them dies. I mean, that's just how it is. You're not going to ban that name, that word from being used or anything like that.
Mm. No, hey, look, go on, Scout. Sorry, mate.
no, I agree. I think it's just a case of that would I think appease the real old school Skins fans who don't want this name, as in Commanders. They don't want all this. They want the old school, and I get it. So I think that would appease them a lot more, and hopefully get them to come back to this team as well. Because a lot of them still, I know they're all coming back, but there's still a lot that aren't because of the name. So I'm hoping that if they did something like that with the emblem in a throwback game or a couple of games here and there or whatever, it
Yeah,
might be enough for them to kind of go, okay, yeah,
I hope so. I hope it
stop
doesn't give
forgetting what
them.
you were. You know what I
Hopefully, it
mean?
doesn't give
I'll,
them
I'll
false hope.
I'll throw one more little thing out there. I don't really think they give two shits. Maybe not two shits about the older fan, because they are in the money making. They are in the generating new fan business. And what will generate new fans? Jaden fucking Daniels holding up a damn Super Bowl trophy. Doesn't matter what name is on here. They're going after the young generation because that is where the money's going to come from. And the old people, they've already started dying off. I mean, that's just how it is. They are trying to attract the new money for that generation, for those generations, the 12-year-old kids still in school. When you have Terry McLaurin come to their school and talk to them, that's who they're going. That's who they're targeting, because that's their future money right now. The old money, it shouldn't business wise make any difference to them.
No, true, true. Before we throw back to Josh Harris's press conference today, there is a lot to break down in that. Obviously, it was a lot of stadium talk. It did surprise me how much they talked about stadium and Redskins and Commanders. Bearing in mind we just had arguably our best season since we've all been fans. Let's be honest, really. One game away from the
Well,
Super Bowl, but
yeah, since y'all have been fans.
yeah, well, you're quite old, Jesse. Sorry, but one big talking point today, Scouse. Myles Garrett wants out of Cleveland. How many first-round picks are we giving up to go and get him? What do you reckon, bro? I'm giving up a first this year, a first next year. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, you take multiple first rounders. I think, even though I don't like the idea of two first rounders, but because obviously you always want to get guys on the cheap, especially if you've got to
That was Scott Hartley's question. Actually, I've just read Scott's question. Myles Garrett wants out of DC. What are you giving up to bring him there? Sorry,
yeah.
Scott.
I think I think Jess will go into more detail, but I just think of course, he's definitely a player of need, and who wouldn't want that guy? You know what I mean? He's that good, but it's just a case of one first rounder, yes. Two, I don't know, maybe. But I'm pushing it there because I want to get guys who because you think about it, you've got to redo his contract as well. So
Mhm.
it isn't going to be a cheap contract. I know we've got the cash, but we've also got a lot of players and a lot of holes to fill. So it's kind of like it's got to be the perfect balance if it's doable, 100%. But
Are you in just before we let Jesse come in, are you in a kind of catch-22 situation now, Scouse? Because players know how much cash we've got as well.
well, yeah, well that is a thing. I just hope that a lot of these players see it. Like, for example, Garrett mentioned on his form, his letter that he wrote out to everybody, he wants to win. He wants to win a
Mm.
Super Bowl. Hopefully, that might make sure that he might lower his contract demands just a little bit, which will help us to get a better team onwards. Or, like the Patriots discount, as I used to call it, because the Pats used to get it all the time. When they were winning, they're getting players for crazy cheap money. You're thinking, yeah, what's this about? And they're good players. So I'm just hoping it can be something like that because we have got a lot of roster. We still got to turn over again. So if,
Yeah,
if the money's right and if the deal's right, then 100% go for it.
yeah, no, I mean, a lot of the things I've seen, I posted something earlier on social. I mean, if to get him, I
No,
think Jesse, I think you give up a first round this year and a first round in 2026. That's what I, yeah,
100%.
and all these people that are
Hell
going,
yes.
and I'm like, yeah, do it if you could do.
He's there, he's there.
It
So
don't make a difference. He's still in the prime, and he's still one of arguably the most disruptive pass rusher in the NFL today.
Mm,
Yes, you go, especially we have a position in need. Peters is not afraid to go get people. Look at what he did with Trent Williams. Look at what he did with Christian McCaffrey. What he did in the middle of the season. This is about winning. We have a window. It's wide open right now in a time where we do not have to pay a quarterback big bucks. Okay. We got tons of freaking money right now. Freaking use it. Okay. We desperately need a pass rusher. Desperately. We have one that we are able to go get that essentially would only cost probably if really 2 second rounds because our first round picks are going to be so late, because I plan on giving him what do we have? The 28th pick this year and the
yeah.
32nd pick next year because we're going to the effing Super Bowl. Um, Listen, we got $100 million. I'll throw in John Allen just to sweeten the pot just a little bit, because they need defensive line help. You get your pass rusher, you go get your receiver, and you get DJ Reed, and you definitely have a really good chance of going to the Super Bowl next year, and still have money left over.
No,
Yeah, man, this is a no freaking brainer, a no
yeah.
brainer, and you're damn right. Peters will be involved in these trade talks, absolutely.
Oh,
And like Scouts was saying, what a good thing is he's looking for a ring. He's looking for an opportunity to go get a ring. So I think the money wise, yeah, we're gonna have to pay him a contract. He doesn't have any guaranteed money left, so we can restructure his contract, give us some good upfront money, and play with the money on the back end. The window is now. You go get what you need, and especially with the assets that we have as far as money to pay them. Yeah, it's going to hurt our draft bank a little bit, but the time is now, man.
Yeah,
go
like
get
you
that
say,
Super
when we're
Bowl.
I agree with you, Jesse. We're not used to being in this position. Where we're drafting 28. I mean, fuck it, give up I don't give a shit. Give up the first round this
That's
year.
basically a second round pick. I
And
mean,
then if we're hoping
really,
like you just said, if we're going to be as good as we think we are, give up next year and the year after. I don't care.
well, I mean, three is a little bit much. Three first is a little bit much, but this year,
If you want to
next
get
year,
this, if
and
you want to
then,
get
and
these
then
elite
sweeten the
dudes,
pot somehow.
John Allen. Yeah, I
sweeten
agree with
the
you.
pot
I agree with
somehow.
the John Allen talk. Fucking Scouse will drive him down there himself, I think. But
You're
but this
not
is
wrong.
this is the situation we're in now, right? Though this is where, like Jesse says, we've got a pot of cash. Let's use it wisely, and I think the perfect person to do this, from what we've seen, is going to be Adam Peters, right, Scouse?
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, he's proven it last season. I'd say he's done it in San Francisco, but you could say, was it him? Was it Lynch? Blah blah blah. But again, but he's been here 1 year, and look at the difference he made. And
Mm.
guys, that some guys we were like, what's that about? And he actually became a good player for us. So he knows what he's doing. He's an excellent talent evaluator, and you got to put all your trust in him. And why wouldn't you? He did fantastic his first year round, and let's see what he can do second season.
Yeah, while we're on some fan questions before we dip back into the Josh Harris chat today, Jesse Ed has put in a question. He says, "Who's getting re-signed, restructured, and released by the Commanders in the off-season?" We kind of touched on this last week. Have you had any more thoughts as we sit here a week on from the chat last week?
Yeah, I mean, not really. I think the status is quo. I read a article from Mark Tyler from Hogs Haven, and some of this, he wanted a grade of what he did for the offseason. I mean, he's getting rid of people like Chin and Ertz and trading for Kyle Pitts, who hasn't done nothing in the NFL. And it just makes me wonder, like, what are these people thinking? Yeah, it's like, are you freaking serious? I gave it an F because it was ridiculous. I mean, you 100% bring Chin back. Yeah, you 100% bring Jeremy Chin back. That's your number one bring back right there is Jeremy Chin, and then also you want to talk to Bobby Wagner and see where his head's at as far as retiring. Wanting to, give it another go. I'm sure if he does want to give it another go, I wouldn't see why he would want to go anywhere else except for maybe to go play for Pete Carroll. But there's no shot at another Super Bowl ring for him. So you'd figure you want to, lock him up for another year too.
I think this season's been beneficial to get Wagner back as well. He's probably thought, "Fucking hell,
yeah,
I want another piece of this." You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. And then probably draft another linebacker to try for Bobby to try to help groom too, because obviously he's not going to be here. And then our linebacker that we drafted this year didn't really get much playing time, but you do need to kind of shore that up and get younger, and might as well do that if he's here to help guide him in that direction.
Scouse, Mr. Hartley would like to know, who would your top 3 targets be in free agency and why?
Well, obviously, free agency is all about finding a player to plug a hole. So
Josh Harris spoke about free agency quite a lot today, didn't he, during the press conference?
A little bit, yeah. I think corner. You're definitely looking at a corner, 100%. Let's say DJ Reed, I think, is one of the main guys. He's desperate to play here. We'll probably get him on a decent deal as well because he's desperate to play here. So we'll get him on a team-friendly deal.
Yeah, that's my guy for corner too, is DJ Reed.
Yeah, he's a good player as well. He's no bum. So it'd be nice to have them, him, Mike here, that rotating between the three.
Mm-hmm.
But who else? Well.
I know a lot of people are talking wide receiver and T. Higgins, and we would love T. Higgins. We would. But if we couldn't get him, I'll throw another name out there that we could get for a lot cheaper. And it will fit that mold for a big receiver. We need a big receiver. And that's DK Metcalf. We could probably get him pretty daggone, for a decent deal. His time is up. And that's if we couldn't get Higgins. Higgins would be my number one, obviously. But just looking for that number 2 receiver that's a bigger receiver, it's something to keep your eye on, and that's DK Metcalf.
He's only 27 as well, so he's not too old just yet. You know what I mean? So I think that'll be quite a good one.
Yeah,
quite a good one. I was trying to think about kind of actual free agents, but yeah, I'm unsure who the actual wide receiver list is fully. Everyone knows about T. Higgins, but unsure about the others. But definitely wide receiver, definitely a corner. And to be fair, I'm looking for another tackle if there's anything out there. If there isn't, then I'm looking to draft one. If there is, or
I think we're all looking for another tackle.
Or
edge,
100%. Garrett's not technically not a free agent, but something like that would be really, really nice. I say we got the cash. You just got to use it wisely.
Yeah, no. Funny question from Hartley as well. He put, if you were stuck on a desert island with Scouse and Jesse, what are each of you bringing to the table to help you get off the island?
He should have asked, which one are you killing first?
Oh my God. Yeah, Jesse's here, mate.
Yeah. Hey, I'm outdoorsman. Y'all gonna be starving if you kill me first.
I reckon Jesse would keep us alive on that desert island.
Yeah, I say if it came to that kind of, that Alive kind of. Have you ever seen the film Alive?
Mm.
The plane crash.
The plane crash. Yeah.
And to eat each other. Well, obviously, I'll be perfect for you to eat me. No, there's a lot of me. I can keep it going a
You would
while.
provide some meals, that's for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. Our Scouse, well, he
That keep
kept
me
Jesse
alive,
and
man.
Burrows alive for 4 months.
Yeah, keep it alive for a long time, man.
But let's dip back into Josh
Jesse,
Harris's
kill
press
me.
comments today before
Yeah,
we
I will.
before we hit up some more fan questions. A big talking point today, Jesse, during the press comments was the stadium. It was pretty evident from reading between the lines that Josh Harris wants the stadium to be back in DC. He mentioned a few times that the part of these discussions was bringing DC to the table, but he also said, look, he wants to see what Maryland wants to bring to the table as well. I think they did try and trip him up a few times, and he was like, look, I'm not really disclosing nothing that I can't disclose. I mean, the big thing for me that come out from this that it's one of the main things that they're working very, very, very hard on
Sure.
getting done. He still earmarked 2030 for the new
Yeah.
stadium to be open. You know, I think it's going to still be within DC. What did you make of the words that Josh Harrison used in his press conference today? He said, "Look, I brought DC to the table. It's gone that the land at RFK has gone back to federal government land." There was many questions that were asked him. Who's paying for it? They were like, Josh, are you going to be paying for this stadium yourself? What are you going to? How do you feel asking taxpayers to pay for this? Which he also mentioned. Hey, look, if we put a stadium, wherever we put the stadium, it's going to be beneficial, hopefully, to the local area. It's going to create a shit. It's going to create a shit ton of jobs. It's going to create a
Yep.
shit ton of revenue for. We'll use RFK as an example. You're going to have the World Cup there. You're going to have hopefully the Olympics. You're going to have concerts. You're going to have everything. There was many things in his press comments today. He said, "Look, we're looking for it. Could be a multi-purpose stadium. It's not just going to say it's going to be used for football." What was your biggest takeaway from the stadium talk today, Jesse?
Being as careful as he can with his words without pissing off Maryland. Just because of the political climate in DC, he doesn't want to upset Maryland just in case something falls through. It's he, we know he wants to be in DC. Obviously, I mean that's crystal clear on how hard them and the NFL worked to get this back, the RFK land
To the
back
federal
to
government.
not to the federal. The federal government had it. It was taking it away from the federal government, so the local DC government has control over it.
Mm.
And you know, it's but now it's in kind of the DC council's house, and now there's some council members don't want the stadium right there. So it's him and Bowser are going to have to come up with a great plan to bring to the council for them to vote on. Now, as far as
Is
what
that where the
Maryland's
multi-purpose stadium comes in, Jesse? Do you think you could potentially have
well,
you could have
be,
DC United, you could have obviously the Commanders, you could.
sure.
There's so many things you could do. I'm guessing that's where maybe you could have an ultra super stadium where you have all these DC teams playing out of this one stadium.
I mean, yeah, but it's not just the stadium; it's what's surrounding it
Yeah,
as well.
you're gonna be creating
And the
jobs
council,
everywhere.
the council, the most important thing for the council is housing. Okay,
Hmm.
they need more housing there, and if they can work out a deal where that will provide some housing, then I think there's a better chance. But again, you can't, you know, piss off Maryland because Maryland's going to come up with the most money. I mean, they've already said they got $400 million in revenue for infrastructure, as far as creating more, fixing the roads around where the stadium's going to be. I don't think they're going to put any money towards the stadium, but $400 million is big. How much DC is going to come up with? Got no clue. Don't know. And that's the one thing that, again, taxpayer wise, which
I,
I think taxpayers should help because it's going to help boost the economy
yeah.
with all the stuff that they could bring in. Like you said, the World Cups and concerts and all kinds of stuff. You guys saw that rendition that that company did. I mean, the place is beautiful, beautiful. I mean, they had parking garages, they had housing, they had the stadium, and then it kind of gave you a visualization of soccer games, football games, concerts, wrestling matches. So there's, but guess what? Maryland's going to have all that stuff too. So it's about where they want it, and they want it in DC, but it's
Where
just
do you
going to be a
think?
process.
Where do you think most Obviously, it's very easy for me. This is where I'd kind of play the UK card because it is it's very easy for me and Scouts to sit here and go, look, we want it in DC, but we don't live there. So where do you think the people of the DMV want the new stadium, Jesse? In your opinion, they said today, look, we're going to conduct all our surveys. We're going to, they're going to do it. They're going to do it properly. It's going to be done. Fans are going to have a voice in this matter where our new stadium goes. Ultimately, yes, it's going to come down to either it's going to be DC, Maryland. It's going to be the government officials that are going to get into it. Where do you, if in your opinion, Jesse, just you as a fan now, where would you prefer the stadium, and where do you think the majority of this survey, what do you think the fans will come back with? Where do you think they'll want the stadium? Because a lot of us, we automatically say RFK, but that's just us maybe speaking from the heart. I don't know. I could be wrong.
I'll say this, and I'm not including DC residents in this because I don't think the residents, around that area really want the stadium and the traffic and stuff like that. But I would give it up to about 85% of Washington fans want the stadium in DC. And I think that's more than enough to get that. In DC, it would just be so much easier. We could stay wherever we wanted. And as long as there is a metro stop, we can get to the game without having to Uber, without having to worry about parking passes, without having to worry about, being drunk on the way home, because all we have to do is jump in the subway and go.
You wouldn't have to pay $50 for a piss.
Yeah. But that's the home, and that's the fan aspect. I would probably put that up to 90% of the fans. And that 10% is, Maryland natives that, probably have ease of access to the stadium right now.
They also just quickly, Scouts, just before one more question for Jesse, kind of thing, because I know he's there. Part of Josh Harris's the chat today, he said also obviously they're chatting to government officials and DC government. I'm guessing they're talking the new income. Obviously, if they're going to put a massive whacking 90,000 seater stadium in the middle of DC, then I'm guessing the government and this current administration are going to have a voice in it. How important and how much of a role do you think the current administration could play in us getting back to we'll say DC, we all hoping it's the RFK site, but how much?
Zero.
Yeah, because I didn't know that. I heard the press conference today. We're chatting to governments in DC, and I kind of play dumb there because I don't know the ins and outs of your politics. I know you've just got a new president, etc., etc. But is that a conversation that Washington officials and Josh Harris would go to the White House and have a chat with this current administration?
It's out of this administration's hands now. The bill is done. The land is DC's to do what it wants with. This is all about DC's government, not the federal. There's two different sides of this, man. The federal government does not have control over that land anymore, so they don't have anything to say about it.
I just wasn't sure if they would have anything to say about a 90,000 seater stadium suddenly popping up like.
Well, for one, we're not. It's going to be closer to 60,000 than 90,000. New stadiums nowadays, they Dan Snyder had little dick syndrome when he. I'm sorry, not Dan Snyder. Jack Kent Cooke wanted the biggest stadium in the freaking world, and that's why he had the 90 freaking thousand seat stadium. I think it was like 96,000. Stadiums are much smaller nowadays. You're looking at big enough stadium to hold a Super Bowl, and I think that's like 63,000 seats right there. So I wouldn't. It's not going to exceed 70,000. I would put money on that.
Scouts, what's your opinion of what you heard from Josh today talking about the stadium? It's been something that's been muted and something that's been talked about for a long, even with that arsehole who should remain nameless before Josh Harris was here. It looks like it's gonna happen. It's just where, why, how. This isn't going to be an easy thing to do, but we've got the right guys in place to make it happen. I think it will happen. I think, like Jesse said, you're going to have to put a stadium somewhere where you're going to, you can build. You want to build housing, but you want to build affordable housing. You don't want to just be one of these people that knocks up all these houses like we see it all the time over here, Scouts. Oh, we built all this new housing, yeah, but no one can afford them. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
can build.
There's
You
enough
can
of that in DC already.
yeah, and we've
Yeah.
been us three have walked around. I tried to
Mhm.
get in the RFK building, got kicked out, but we know what the surrounding area is like around there. And I think if you can make affordable housing, if you can build an infrastructure of maybe like a shopping malls and whether it be and say to the local area, like, hey, look, this is what we're doing. These, we're going to be creating this amount of jobs, we're going to be creating this amount of housing. I don't know if you build like a school or you build something, say, look, we're not just here for the football stadium. We're here for the whole community project. We as the Washington Commanders are gonna embed ourselves into the community. We're gonna throw ourselves at schools. We're gonna throw ourselves at housing. We're gonna everything that we can do to build up this area around here as the Washington Commanders. We're going to do it. And I think that's the approach that Josh Harris will take. He'll bring that to the table and say to people, look, this is what we can do for you, let us try and do it. That's easier said than done. But what do you reckon to what you heard today, Scouts, about the whole stadium talk?
Yeah, I mean, it's not, to be fair, there's not much to talk extra about than what you haven't mentioned, but um, I think it's going to be DC. I think it's going to be where RFK is. I think what you said there is spot on with the way I was trying to read between the lines a little bit in that interview was about, when he mentioned about, are you going to try and get public funding? He obviously is going to. He just didn't want to admit it.
Yeah, he's
But,
never going to
but
admit
to
that.
do it, like you said, to offer it and present it like that, where if you give us, 500 million, we could do this with it, and we can create affordable houses, or we can create the malls, or improve the trains, or whatever it is that they need around there. And then you can start getting, a bit more negotiation with the actual trying to get some taxpayer funding. So I think that would be the way they would try and present it. Being honest, a super kind of not just a stadium, but a natural, amazing new, brand new area, not just a stadium. So, I think as Jesse mentioned, that guy that stadium, the kind of the render that we saw
Hmm.
was phenomenal. Anything like that, it's going to cost you 2 to 3 billion. That's the
Yeah.
problem. So 500 million is not it's not a lot really in the grand scheme of it all, but it's still enough to say it will create jobs. It will create, the economy to be turned over a lot faster, a lot better. So it's kind of it makes a lot of sense, and that's why teams do. That's why it happens over here as well, at Bros. When
Hmm.
teams buy new stadium. You mentioned, you Tottenham yourselves. You bought this nice new stadium and all the rest of it. That cost a lot of money, and they're going to try and find some public funding for the outside part, even if it's not the stadium itself.
Yeah.
We
It'll
still
be
haven't got naming rights
infrastructure.
to that fucking stadium.
Yeah, Scouse is absolutely right, man. They can structure it where they're using that money for not necessarily just the stadium itself, but the surrounding areas because it's going to be. I mean, you guys saw when we went to the baseball game. We went to a couple bars there. Our first night, we went and watched the Thursday night football game. All that stuff was new and it was built kind of around the
That spot.
stadium right
Yeah.
there.
Mhm.
So it's going to be something very kind of similar to that. Obviously, it's going to be a little bit more fancier because it's going to be more money and there's a lot more land to develop around there. But that Navy Yard was built up because of the Nats Park, and they got DC got funding for to do all that right there. And there's certain ways that the DC government, because they're just coming, they just spent 400 million and gave it to Ted Leonsis to revitalize Chinatown, the Chinatown district around Capital One Stadium, where the Capitals and the Wizards play, and also the Mystics. So there's going to be there's going to have to be some finagling that needs to be done, but I do think Mario Bowser, the mayor, and Josh Harris, and the rest of the ownership group, because most of the ownership group, at least Mitch Rails and Mark Ein and Harris, they're all local, so they're already entrenched in the community. So they'll They should be able to get this done.
They probably spoke to when they knew that they were taking over this team. They probably already put feelers out to people already. I reckon this has been,
Sure, absolutely.
We're saying this is a process that we're doing now. Trust me, Josh Harris and his crew have probably been working on this since the day they worked in the door. As soon as they walked in and you had that Commanders team. Jesse, just real quick, Rod Morrison sent in a question, literally just sent it to me right now. Is Myles Garrett and Stanley must-do deals for the Commanders?
Is Myles Garrett and who?
Stanley must-do deals for the Commanders.
So you're talking about the tackle there, Stanley?
Yeah, I'm guessing
Yeah,
that's the only one I can think of. Yeah.
I think, Joe Staley.
Staley, sorry, I misread that.
Yeah, it's getting a little bit older.
What's he now?
Garrett,
30?
definitely.
How old is he?
Yeah, I mean, he's still got some.
Early
It depends on the deal for Staley. I think Myles Garrett is absolutely no brainer to definitely at least put in the phone call and see how much it's going to be. But Staley, I'm not sure. It's you have to get him for the right price.
It's got to be mid-30s.
I would think so. I don't know exactly how old he is, but he's been around for a long time. He's a good tackle. Don't get me wrong on that, but you do have to. You got to spend your money wisely, especially if you're going to go after a big money target like a Garrett. You are going to have to be smart with the money afterwards because there is other holes that we need. There's definitely other players that we're going to need. We're going to need to spend a little money. We got to spend money at probably wide receiver. I don't think this draft is very good with wide receivers. We're going to have to spend money probably at cornerback. One thing this draft is good at is, I think, interior defensive line. I think you can get some linebackers in the second, third, fourth round.
If we stay at 28, Jesse, what do you think? What position do you think we go for at 28?
I think you go with the best
what's on the board
possible player. It's all about working the board, man. It's hard to target someone that late down in the draft. It's really difficult because you don't know how the board's going to fall.
Yeah, I guess when you're getting to around the 2021s, you're kind of they're going to earn their money this draft. That's going to be an interesting draft. Yeah. Sorry, Scott.
And all the time we've seen it. We saw it with John Allen. We saw it with other players. People do slip now. People do slip, but still, you're drafting late. It's difficult to try to pinpoint down on a particular person or a particular player or a particular position.
Go on, Scout. Sorry, mate.
Ronnie Stanley's 30. He'll be 31 in March.
Oh, that's not. Oh, it's younger than I thought. I thought he was about 30. Yeah, I thought he was about 34.
So you could get a contract out of him, 2-3 year deal.
Yeah, I mean, look what we've done this season with the players that we've got, Eckler, etc., etc. You know what I mean?
He left tackle.
Zach
right tackle.
Right tackle, isn't he?
I'm unsure.
I don't know.
I think he's played both. I think he's played both.
Swing.
I can't use my phone to do any research, but because he was with the Ravens, I forget who. I can't remember who he was drafted by, but I think he's been on 2 different teams. I think. I could be wrong.
No, just Baltimore. Just Baltimore for 2016.
Just Baltimore? Okay.
Yeah, 2016.
60 was round 1, so he's pretty high up there.
6th round, was he 6th pick?
Overall 6th pick, yeah.
Wow. Okay. Interesting.
Interesting.
Well, boys, it's going to be an interesting off season. Just a little side note: this coming Sunday, I'm going to be recording a very special episode with one of our new listeners. Boys, this show, we're off to Perth, Australia this Sunday. I'm going to be sitting down with Ian. Big shout out to Ian. I know he's listening. Just messaged me now while we're recording. He listens all the way in Perth, Australia. They are 8 hours ahead of me. So I'm going to record at 8 a.m. Sunday morning, my time.
That's a little bit too early for me there, Bubba.
So Jesse, you might not be on it. Scouse, you're more than welcome, but you might be getting your beauty sleep at 8 o'clock on a Sunday morning. You know what I mean? You'll be asleep forever, Jesse. But it's going to be big. I just wanted to give a big shout out to Ian. He's interacted with us with a few times, but it's amazing, boys, to think, right, Jesse, that our show, our dulcet tones,
are international, yeah.
I know,
yeah, that was great. We definitely appreciate all the listeners from all around the world. I do sometimes go, with the Bleeding Burgundy, I do go into the analytics and to see
It's
who's
crazy, isn't it, when you
listening
look
from
at.
where, man? Yeah,
Oh,
it's like
dude, I
freaking
sometimes click on that as
South
well.
Korea and
Yeah.
freaking Iceland. It's like wow. It's like yeah, y'all are
Does it,
listening from all
Jesse?
out
Does
It's cool,
there.
man. It is
just
cool.
real quick, Jesse,
Yeah,
just before we get out of it, does it surprise you how popular the NFL is internationally? Not just not talking about, you know us well enough, but I'm talking, like you say, South Korea, Australia. I'm going to
yeah,
ask everyone. I'm going to get. It'll be interesting to get Ian's point of view when I do speak to him on Sunday, because you know what I mean.
sure.
It's they've got obviously they've got the Aussie rules football over there, which by the way is a
Hmm. Hmm.
brutal game.
You'd love that. Yeah.
Yeah, Jesse, you'd love it. Does it surprise you, Jesse, as an American, how popular now the NFL is worldwide?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, especially when I mean, if you look at games like soccer, even baseball. How international the professional uh, the professionals in those type of sports and hockey stuff like that. But you look at football, man, it's mainly Americans. So when you're looking at you have people from the Australia, which there's a few Australian players sprinkled in here. Most of them are kickers, but it's primarily an American sport. Primarily Americans play that sport. It's not like a hockey. It's not like a football. What y'all call it football, but soccer or even a baseball for that matter, where there's people from all over the world, all over different nationalities that come to play that sport in a professional way. Football is the most popular sport in my opinion, and it reaches global. It is pretty kind of wild if you sit and think about it in that aspect of it.
I mean, did you hear about that after 2026 there might actually be live NFL games at Melbourne Cricket Ground, which is like an
Sure,
state.
yeah,
I heard about that. Yeah,
yeah.
I'm gonna be interested to chat to Ian about this because there's going to be a game in Spain next year. Obviously, we've got the UK, we've
Fingers
got
crossed it's us.
Germany.
Fingers
Yeah,
crossed.
hopefully we're playing the Dolphins in Germany. But it will be get
In
interesting to
Madrid. In Madrid.
Madrid, sorry. Be interesting to see what Ian says about that because they are. This, if you look at someone like the Sydney Cricket Ground, it's iconic,
Yeah.
absolutely iconic. One of the greatest stadiums in the world. I mean, I love my cricket. So, but to see the NFL go and be played in Australia would be absolutely incredible. But it's the Super Bowl this week as well, Scouts. How many times have your mates said to you this week? I've had it from the guy I work with, and I know he listens to this show. He tells you he doesn't like it. Why do you call it World Champions when it's only played in America? Oh my! If I get that question once more, Jesse, that's probably the question that pisses us off over here in the UK the most. Having to defend you lot when they say to us, "Why is it called football when you
World
don't use your feet? Why don't they call it handball?" Oh my fucking god! I'm like, it's called World Champions because there's players from all over the world, but it's only played in America. I've had that. We're only on
Yeah,
Monday. I've had that
it
question.
is only played in America, and yeah, we do have some international. They have the international pathway program, and but again, like I was saying, it is primarily American. And but listen, you have leagues in other countries. Germany has a football league, and I'm sure somewhere in England y'all have some sort of
Yeah, we've got the British Football
Americanized
League.
football league.
Yeah, we've got one.
But take your boys over there and play against an NFL team. What's going to happen?
We're gonna get our asses kicked.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, that's why we're the world champion. Hey, I'm sure the NFL would be like, hey, y'all get your best team, come and play us. See what's going to happen.
It's
I
got
don't
very
think it's
tribal all
just.
of a sudden, Scout.
How would you pick your team? The Pro
Well,
Bowl?
no, I'm trying to defend the fact that we call it world champions.
Hey, look, you don't
know?
know, Jesse. I spend most of my life defending you lot as a country. I had a very heated discussion, shall we say, on Saturday night after a few scoops of lager when someone tried to tell me that Americans weren't very friendly, and I had a seriously heated discussion on at the weekend defending you lot. And look, don't get me wrong, there are some.
I mean, some of them. There's some assholes here.
There are
I'm
some
not gonna
assholes, but
lie.
I got on my high horse a little bit. And when I was out shopping with my daughter on Friday, I did say to her, "Put that in the trash." And she looked at me, and I went, "Oh fuck! I do too many podcasts with these Americans. I think that's what it is." But boys, yeah. So this Sunday, the bunker's going to be heading down to Perth, Australia, with Ian. Ian, I can't wait for that, brother. I know you're going to be
It's
listening
gonna
to
be
this.
fun.
It's going to be a fun
Excited
show.
about that one.
Yeah, just to talk about his fandom and how a bit, how it, just watching the game down there. I mean, I think it's right. I think like some of the games start at like 8 in the morning for him, so it's like I think it's perfect. But some of the games, but yeah, Ian, can't wait to chat to you on Sunday, brother. I'll get that out Sunday afternoon. Sorry, Scaz, go on, mate.
Oh no, isn't it Monday? Isn't it Monday morning for him? It's like
gonna be,
11
no,
hours ahead of
it's going to be 8 a.m. UK time.
No,
so
no, I
that's
mean
8
like
hours.
when he watches live games. I mean,
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of
yeah.
Monday morning for him.
Yeah.
So
Monday mornings,
he's going to
yeah.
have to like go to work or book time off.
11-hour
or,
difference, some of that. It's a lot of
yeah. I
difference.
think he said he's 8 hours ahead of us. So yeah, 11 hours.
I'm
for
sure
the
they got
States.
DVR in Australia.
Yeah, they probably put it in a
Oh, yeah.
kangaroo.
I mean,
Put it in a kangaroo or
You
something.
can't
I
take
don't know.
Mondays off, man. Doesn't it? I mean,
Yeah. Sorry, Ian. That was my first kangaroo joke. But boys, we're going to be back next. We're going to be back Sunday, and then hopefully us three will get together if there's any news to chat about next week. Jesse, good luck getting the internet sorted, my friend.
I appreciate that.
I know. These things might not have made it over to the United States yet. I don't know if the Beatles broke up. I don't know if you know that. Yeah, the Beatles have broke
really?
up. Yeah,
Damn, that's sad.
You turn the tap on, we get this water thing come out of it. I don't know, but boys, thanks very much, man. If you want to check us out on social media, as always, you can find us on X. You can go into X and type at Commander Bunker. We now hit 150 subscribers on YouTube since I finally put it on there a few months ago. The Bunker Podcast, but you scroll down and just find the Washington Commanders logo. Go on YouTube after this, boys, and type in the Bunker Podcast and see some of the interesting shit that comes up.
I have before. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. There's some a
lot of Hitler stuff.
Yeah, there's some. Hopefully it's not like they've all subscribed to this, thinking this is the weirdest Washington podcast I've ever heard. They're talking about invading Germany and everything. But boys, thanks very much for your time, man. We'll be back on Sunday, and then us three will be back to talk more Washington football next week. But ladies and gentlemen, this has been another episode of The Bunker. Till next time, everybody, bunker down. Stay safe.